Tonight was the final WWE Raw before the Royal Rumble. You know how many people I've heard from this week who said, wait, the Rumble is Saturday? Yeah, the Royal Rumble is actually on Saturday. I know it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like Royal Rumble season, does it? It's kind of what happens when you really start promoting the show as if you remembered, oh shit, we have a Royal Rumble coming up only about a week ago. Tonight they were in Toronto, and the real story of tonight, it really wasn't even about the Royal Rumble. It feels to me like they are speed running through the AJ Styles retirement run. And if you would have asked me a week ago, do I honestly believe when this match was announced for Saturday, where AJ was going to put his career on the line against Gunther, do you really think that this is going to be AJ's last match in WWE here in 2026? I would have said, of course not. And now they've boxed themselves into a corner because you really shouldn't be beating Gunther right now, right? He just retired John Cena a month ago. But now you almost have no choice, right? Or you could do some sort of disqualification finish in their match, but like, how are they going to get out of this, right? What are they going to do? And then on 24 hours notice, they announced on SmackDown Friday night that AJ Styles was going to be wrestling his old rival, Shinsuke Nakamura, out of nowhere on Saturday night's main event, one last time. And I thought, kind of short notice to put the match like that together, but okay. They had a match to fill on the Saturday night's main event card, and it's not like Nakamura is going to win, so okay, cool. And they went out there and they had an excellent match. And then AJ Styles was promoted for tonight. They didn't really say what he was going to do. He was going to just appear here on Raw. They didn't really announce too much in advance for the show tonight. CM Punk came out at the beginning of the show to, confront, I guess, AJ Styles during the opening promo. And it became very clear where this was headed. Now, this is a match that I just talked about this past week as how much of a sin it would be if we don't get at least one match here between CM Punk and AJ Styles during this year before AJ hangs it up. How can you not do that match? I mean, it could be a WrestleMania caliber match. You could do it in Chicago maybe at the Elimination Chamber, but you got to do it at some point. They gave it to us tonight with no promotion or anything. They put that match together at the beginning of the show, and Punk said, I'll put the World Heavyweight Championship on the line against AJ Styles tonight. And that is what sold it to me. That's when reality really hit me. And I said, oh shit, he's done. He's done in WWE this weekend. This is it. He's losing to Gunther on Saturday. Because why else would they be speed running through some of these matches that we've had over the last 48 hours? Right? It doesn't really make any sense unless AJ is really on his way out. And a week ago, I would not have even considered that as a possibility. Like, how could that be? First PLE of the year? That's it? You're not even going to get him to WrestleMania? But he has talked in the past about how his contract only runs through February. I just thought, well, I'm sure they'll be able to work something out, at least an extension to WrestleMania, right? I'm sure they could work something out. But as I sit here and I talk to you now, it really does feel like what we just witnessed tonight was the final Monday Night Raw for AJ Styles as an active professional wrestler. And on the one hand, I'm happy we got that AJ Styles CM Punk match. That was our main event tonight on the show. I wish I could sit here and tell you that this was just a great match and every bit as great as the match that we saw between AJ and Nakamura on Saturday, because it really was. That was an excellent match. I can't. It pains me to sit here and tell you that this was not a great match that these two had. It was solid. It was solid enough. CM Punk looked like a fucking sloth out there in the ring. I don't know if it was just a matter of like, here you have two guys who obviously, I think they're about the same age, 48, 49, somewhere in that range. And they've had a lot of matches. They put a lot of miles on their bodies. They've had a lot of great matches in their day. Maybe it was an off night. Maybe AJ had to slow himself down a little bit because Punk, he looked gassed in the ring. I just saw AJ go in there with Nakamura and have a fucking fantastic match on Saturday. That's not what this was tonight. And the crowd was very quiet too. I mean, the crowd didn't seem overly invested or as invested as you would think they would be for being given such a big match here in the main event. So I don't know. I mean, Punk went out there a couple weeks ago and had a really good match with Finn Balor. It's not like we don't see CM Punk go out there and still have really good matches. But tonight, it just looks slow and just very... Yeah, again, the word sloth just comes to mind. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just what it reminded me of. So I thought it was a very underwhelming main event. I'm glad they did it, because if this was their last chance to do it, then fuck, I mean, you got to do it. But it just didn't come off the way that I was hoping the Punk and AJ match, if we ever did get it, would come off. That's not what we got tonight. What we got, of course, was a fuck finish, which you had to expect in that match. And of all people, it was Finn Balor who interfered in the main event and actually left CM Punk laying. So we know now that Finn Balor is not done yet with CM Punk. It almost looked like we were headed for a Finn Balor babyface turn sooner than later. And then they did a complete 180 at the end of the show, and they left Balor in there as the biggest heel in the building for ruining that main event tonight. So we'll talk about what happened there. Bron Breakker. He was suspended a few weeks ago. He was invited to come back to Raw tonight for a chat with Adam Pearce. I told you last week, if I had to venture a guess, that my guess would be that he's going to be reinstated and he's going to be inserted into the Royal Rumble match. And that's exactly what happened. But I figured the catch would be Adam Pearce was going to make him number one and say, well, you're in the Rumble, but if you want to win, you're going to have to start all the way from the very beginning. We never had a catch. It was as straightforward as you can get. Adam Pearce had the entire vision in the ring, and he said, you're reinstated and you're in the Royal Rumble. As a matter of fact, all of you guys are in the Royal Rumble, all except Paul Heyman, of course. But all of you guys are in the Royal Rumble. The entire vision is in the Royal Rumble. And that was the last that we heard of it from Adam Pearce here on the show. It's as if someone got in this man's ear and scared the shit out of him. But we don't know who that is. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop and for him to say, well, you're going to enter first, or you're going to have, two members of the Vision are going to start the Rumble. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, you're going to have to fight each other. There was nothing. There was nothing. It's like Adam Pearce was gotten to. And now we've got to try to figure out who exactly got to Adam Pearce. Whose pocket is Adam Pearce in now? I don't know. Maybe a certain bald member of the board of directors. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But yes, Bron Breakker and the Vision are in the Royal Rumble. I thought this episode was largely a snoozer, if I'm being honest, which I always am with you guys. And the lead up to this year's Royal Rumble, and this is part of the reason, the lead up to this year's Royal Rumble, the promotion for it, the build up to one of the biggest events on the WWE calendar has been virtually non-existent. It has truly been one of the worst in years. I love the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is my favorite annual event. It's not WrestleMania. It's not SummerSlam. I love the Rumble. I've loved the Rumble ever since I was a kid. We've had some great Rumbles. We've had some dog shit Rumbles. I thought last year's Rumble, especially the men's Rumble, was actually very good. I enjoyed it. I am trying to be optimistic that as low as my expectations are for this show, given the way they have promoted it, that the show itself will end up being a sleeper show. I'm still looking forward to it. I'm hoping for the best. But again, it's as if they just completely forgot this show existed until last week when Cody declared. And then everybody else began to declare. And we started to get some real promotion for this event, but it's almost like too little too late. And to the point where some people don't even realize that the Royal Rumble is this weekend. I think that says it all. This is your Raw Netflix review. It is Monday night. It is January 26th, 2026. I am the Solomonster, and we're going to talk about what I guess is going to be the final Raw here for the month of January. Because when I see you back here next Monday, it'll be February. Actually, no, it's going to be February 1st. I thought it was going to be Groundhog Day. No, it is going to be Groundhog Day. That's right. it will be Groundhog Day when I see you next week. Groundhog Day, WWE booking. It's a lot of similarities there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. Super chats are open, and I will be reading your messages. You guys know the drill. We have a special wheel here, and I'm going to spin this wheel. We're going to find out how many likes on the stream that we need to do Be the Booker later on. Let's take her for a spin and see what it lands on. Oh, boy. Uh-oh. 500 likes. It's going to be a tough mountain to climb, but that's the goal. 500 likes gets us to Be the Booker. Usually it's 400. So you guys are going to really have to bring your A game tonight. It's not looking too good. Now, let me just remind you, the Royal Rumble is coming up on Saturday. I'm going to be live here on this channel. Of course, we have TNT tomorrow night. But on this channel, we have the Dynamite post show on Wednesday. Friday is SmackDown. Now, SmackDown is being held in Riyadh. And from what I can tell, because I logged into my VPN and checked Netflix, it looks like SmackDown is going to be airing internationally on Netflix at noon Eastern on Friday. And so if that is the case, I'm going to watch the show live. I may well go live when it's over. So I may be live as early as 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern on Friday. I'll keep you guys posted on X and on Wednesday. I'll let you guys know what my plan is. But either way, if I can watch the show early, I will definitely be going live earlier on Friday. And then Saturday is an early start to the Rumble, 2 p.m. Eastern. And for that, I'll be live around 9 o'clock. So that's the plan I'm operating under right now. Yes, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 Eastern. Not here in the U.S., but internationally. That's when SmackDown is airing on Friday. How's the snow over there? Yeah, the snow sucks. Fuck the snow. Fuck the snow, and fuck Frosty the Snowman. I'm done with the snow. And yet we're expecting more this weekend. We have a few more inches coming to us this weekend. Oh, joy. All I know is I will not be driving my car for at least a week. I know that. So everywhere I go, I'm going to have to do some walking this week. Because I am not driving. I am literally unable to drive anywhere. So I hope wherever you may be, it is not as bad. And hopefully you didn't have any power outages or any issues like that. But yeah, the snow sucks. Alicia Taylor, she does not suck, but she was not on Raw tonight because her flight was canceled because of this shitty weather. So she was not able to make it into Monday Night Raw. She was not able to make it into Toronto. Yes, Solomonster needs a summer home. I'll back you up on that. That is true. So because Alicia Taylor was not there, we had Lillian Garcia, who did the ring announcing on Saturday as well. She was back tonight handling the ring announcing. And Raw opened, possibly for the final time, with AJ Styles as an active in-ring competitor. He said that Gunther claimed that he would end his career at the Rumble. That was Gunther's plan. But AJ didn't plan on going anywhere. And he acknowledged that it's no secret. He has said before, 2026 will be the year that he retires from the ring. But he wasn't saying that to upset anyone. He said it so that they could all enjoy it together. Yes, enjoy this 1 month together. He said that John Cena showed him how he could say goodbye. 2025 was John Cena's year, and there was no reason 2026 couldn't be his. Says there were. Now, this is the key part of the promo here. We're going to come back around to this, but this was something that AJ said in the promo, and this was not said without there being some reason for him saying it. He said that there were men in locker rooms all over the world that he would love to wrestle one more time. He also wanted to be the world champion one more time, and that brought out the world heavyweight champion, CM Punk, out to the ring. Punk said that he's known this man for over 20 years. Said they've been friends, they've been enemies, but now there's nothing but respect between them. So he's got to ask him, what are you doing, man? Said if it doesn't go your way, it means that your career is over. And he likes to think that guys like them have a lot of gas left in the tank. Well, he didn't look like he had a lot of gas left in the tank in that main event. But he would like to think that guys like them have a lot of gas left in the tank. Saturday, the stakes are just too high. And AJ asked him, are you saying that you don't think I can beat Gunther? And he goes, no, I'm not saying that. In fact, I know you can beat Gunther. We all saw you beat Gunther. Everybody except the referee. And at the end of the day, Gunther is the one that got his hand raised in that match. And if it doesn't go your way on Saturday, that means that CM Punk and AJ Styles, they never get to go one-on-one in a WWE ring. Now, Punk kept looking at the crowd almost with like a wink and a nod. He was waiting for the crowd to, pick up on what he was trying to say here. I don't think everybody really was yet picking up on what it was he was trying to communicate. AJ said that he gets what Punk is saying, but it kind of comes across as disrespectful. Punk says, not at all. If anything, it's a little bit selfish. AJ said that he knows he can beat Gunther and he knows that he can beat Punk. And Punk said on Saturday, if it doesn't go your way, you don't get to prove that you can beat me. So gosh, AJ goes, I don't know what to do. And AJ said, let's say we do fight tonight. If I beat you, and then I go on and I beat Gunther, then I am the number one contender for that World Heavyweight Championship. Punk said, look, when I won this title on November 1st, I said that I was going to be a fighting champion. So if we're going to do this tonight here in Toronto, then it's going to be for the belt. And the crowd broke into yes chants. Again, at the beginning of the show, the crowd seemed very excited to see this match. They seemed to be louder and more energetic for it during the promo than they were during the actual match itself, but they were doing yes chants, so they were very excited at the prospect of seeing this match. And Punk made it official, and the two of them shook hands. And that is how you set up a huge main event right there for Monday Night Raw. For, again, a match that could have easily been booked for Elimination Chamber. And I know it was unlikely, but if you would have booked this as like a night one WrestleMania main event, there aren't very many people out there who would have said, oh man, that really doesn't feel like a WrestleMania match. Like, of course it does. This is a match you could have easily done on either of those two PLEs. And so we were getting it tonight here on television here. And the fact that they booked this match for tonight for the championship tells me that he is really done on Saturday. But I want to come back to the phrasing that he used in this promo, which I don't think was done without there being a purpose for it. There are men in locker rooms, he said, all around the world. The feeling that I'm getting from listening to him and watching this speed run that they've been on here these last few weeks with AJ, like it, and by the way, it's not just the match with Nakamura that they did on Saturday and the Punk match tonight. It's the fact that they did the first match with Gunther on like the second Raw of the year. And now they're doing the second match between them, and they're going with the retirement stipulation. Again, when I mapped this out in my head, and we were doing some fantasy booking for like what they could do with Gunther, what they could do with AJ at WrestleMania, I said, this is what I would do, but for WrestleMania. And they get 2 or 3 matches out of it, but the whole retirement stipulation, you do that at WrestleMania. So the fact they're doing it Saturday and the other 2 matches that they've done, they're speed running through it because he's done. He's finished. But maybe he's only finished in WWE. I can envision a scenario here, and this to me is feeling increasingly like what we're seeing here. This Saturday at the Royal Rumble, he's done. He's losing to Gunther. That's what it feels like. He's going to end up wrestling in TNA. He's going to end up wrestling potentially in AEW. He may even go back to New Japan and do a New Japan match against somebody. I don't know who it would be against. Okada's gone from there. Tanahashi is gone. He's just retired. Naito's gone. So I'm not even sure who in New Japan he would be wrestling. But it sounds to me like he might have it in his head to do a more legitimate retirement tour than any other that we've seen, even than the John Cena one. I mean, John Cena spent his entire career in WWE, so Yeah, it's not like, oh, we got to see John Cena back here and back. Like, he's only ever worked for one company. But AJ has worked for multiple places, and he's right. There are locker rooms that have talents there that he has worked with before, and frankly, talents he has never worked with, that if this is truly the end for him, then I think the fans would really like to see him in the ring with these people. This could be a true retirement tour where he goes to WWE and his contract maybe legitimately is up in a few weeks, maybe even next week. And he says, look, this is what I want to do. Let's do my final match of the Rumble. And I'm going to go and I have these people that I would like to work with the idea that like down the road, he's going to be back. You know, he may even take some sort of position with the company as like a coach or something. I could see him wanting to do that. Like his days in WWE are not over if his contract is up and he's going to go work matches somewhere else. And of course, he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day and all that. But this is now the feeling I'm getting out of this, which makes, and maybe it's just me trying to rationalize it because the idea of him truly being done, like finito, bonito, like that's it, done, finished on Saturday is just, I can't accept this. Well, we came into this year, I thought we would have a little bit more time. But that's what it's feeling like to me. And if that's the case, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because there were matches in TNA, there were matches in AEW that I would love to see him have before he wraps it up. Like, look at some of the names on the AEW roster. Kenny Omega was on television last week talking about how this is the best physically that he has felt in years. And if that's true, the idea of getting an AJ Styles Kenny Omega match, pretty enticing. Really, I mean, there's any number of people on that roster I would love to see AJ Styles in the ring with. But you have a few different options as far as where he could end up and work. And it's intriguing to me. But as far as WWE is concerned, everything they've been doing the last few weeks indicates that he truly is done. And Riyadh is going to be the end for him in the ring in this company. And that's the key. And in the chat, by the way, are there specific people in other companies that you would like to see him work with? Is there like that one guy in TNA or AEW or somewhere else where if AJ was leaving WWE after this weekend and going to go work a few more matches, who would you like to see him in the ring with? It's an interesting question because there's a lot of names out there, but I'm curious what you guys think. So after this, we had a 6-woman tag team match with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer against the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez. Stephanie went to work, and it's good, by the way, to see Stephanie back in the ring. We saw her make her return at Saturday night's main event, and she had the ankle injury, but she is okay now. She actually made it back sooner than I thought we would see her. Danhausen. Well, Danhausen is probably coming to WWE. Danhausen's probably going to be in like NXT or WWE next month, would be my guess. Leon Slater, Omega, MJF, interesting, Samoa Joe, Takeshita. Who said Jeff Jarrett? Who said that? Dan. Come on, Dan. Tell him, man, he's got a lot of great potential opponents out there. So Stephanie went to work on Liv Morgan. Her Devil's Kiss attempt was broken up by Rodriguez, and that upset the fans. Liv had actually tagged out to Raquel a few moments before this. Stephanie didn't see it because she was distracted by Roxanne, and the referee did nothing. The referee saw it, but made no attempt to get Liv Morgan out of the ring. So Raquel finally got into the ring. Judgment Day, they maintained control over Stephanie throughout the commercial break. And Liv pulled Io off the apron at one point. Rodriguez attacked Ripley from behind. This is when Stephanie was attempting to make a tag. So Stephanie finally did make a hot tag to Io, who hit Roxanne with a flying drop kick and then the bullet train knees in the corner. Morgan saved Perez from the over the moonsault by pulling her out of the ring to safety, but Io landed on her feet, followed that with a butterfly backbreaker. Morgan distracted the referee by messing up the ring skirt while Roxanne went and raked the eyes of Io Sky. Perez and Morgan hit a combo Russian leg sweep code breaker, only for a near fall. Io finally made the next hot tag to Rhea Ripley, and she gave Liv Morgan a razor's edge into Raquel. Ripley blocked a pop rock. She clobbered Perez with a clothesline. She followed with a missile drop kick to Raquel. Morgan fought back with a tornado DDT on Rhea. One thing I will never get tired of is a good Rhea Ripley DDT sell. Fucking on point. Best sell of a DDT anywhere in wrestling today. Rhea Ripley. She can make the simplest DDT. It doesn't even have to be a tornado DDT. She can make the simplest DDT look devastating. So everybody was trading moves until Stephanie wiped out Raquel with a diving splash out to the floor. Morgan went for Oblivion. Ripley, though, she blocked it. And Perez had made a blind tag. So then they tried their combo move again. But this time when Liv came in for Oblivion, Rhea stuffed it. And so Liv is just basically standing like on Rhea's knees. And she's like, uh-oh. And as she's all exposed there, Io wiped out Morgan with a springboard dropkick. So Ripley then finished off Roxanne with a riptide and got the win, as they did on Saturday. The Judgment Day loses again. Rhea Ripley gets the win for her team. This was a good match. A lot of action. It kind of reminded me of the tag match on Saturday in that way. Nonstop action, very energetic. So I thought it was a fun match. And the Judgment Day losing again definitely bumps up the chances that one of them is winning the Royal Rumble on Saturday. And if one of them is winning the Royal Rumble on Saturday, it is not going to be Raquel Rodriguez. And it is not going to be Roxanne Perez. Now, I have Bianca, if you heard my Royal Rumble predictions, I have Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble, returning and winning the Royal Rumble. And I'm sticking to that. But if Bianca is not cleared, and if she does not return in the Royal Rumble, then I think Liv Morgan is winning the Royal Rumble. She's my backup pick. But only if Bianca is not in there. Bianca's not in there, I think Liv Morgan gets it. So they recapped last week's main event with CM Punk and Finn Balor, which was in Belfast for the World Heavyweight Championship. They come back live, and Balor corners Punk in the back, and he admits that last week was the most memorable night of his career. And since he didn't get a chance to say it last week, he wanted to say thank you. And Punk told him, look, I can't be the best in the world unless I beat the best in the world. He goes, John's gone. AJ's putting his career up on the line this weekend. Says, there's not a lot of guys left like you and me. He goes, think about what you want your legacy to be. You want to be the world champion? Because you can't be the champion hanging around garbage like Dominic Mysterio in the Judgment Day. So if you want another shot, win the Rumble, and I'll see you in Vegas. And that gives Balor something to think about here at the end of the set. We would know by the end of the show what his choice was. He had made his choice as far as what he was going to do next, but that is how this segment ended. And I thought, maybe they are serious about actually giving Finn Balor a real singles push, which he did not get that last year. I'm not saying he's going to win the world title, but I'm just saying, like, giving him an actual serious singles push. Based on what they did tonight, it seems like, okay, they're actually serious about it. I don't think it's going to last very long. I don't think that it's going to net him a world championship, but I do think at the end of all of this, and I could still see this as being a WrestleMania match. I think we do end up with babyface Balor probably by Mania time, and I think that he's probably going to be the one who takes that IC title from Dominic. He to me is the most likely choice because there's just so much history there and friction and jealousy or whatever you want to call it, dissension between the two of them. And it keeps being brought up. And like, again, Punk here, you're calling Dominic garbage. You really want your legacy to be hanging around with Dominic Mysterio. I think that's the ultimate direction here. They're taking a little bit of a detour now before they get there, but I think that's the direction. So then they aired a commercial with Triple H and Paul Heyman to promote the new King of Kings edition of WWE 2. How many editions of this game are they going to have? Aren't we at the Attitude Era edition? But Triple H is getting his own edition of 2K26, the King of Kings edition. And so sure enough, they show the cover, and there he is, smack dab on the cover is Triple H. Shocking, I know. In fact, I have an exclusive sneak peek at the special cover. Yes, that Triple H's edition of 2K26 is going to have. Would you like to see the cover? There it is. This is your first exclusive sneak peek. You won't find this anywhere else. There it is, the cover of the Triple H edition of WWE 2K26. I got to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting more belts. I don't think he's got enough belts here in this one. Ridiculous. The Vision. Let's talk about the Vision. The Vision was out to the ring next, including Bron Breakker. He was walking out there in a black hoodie. Seems to be the wardrobe of choice in WWE. Usually whenever somebody is returning or debuting, he walked out there in his hoodie. See, I not enough belts, right? I was surprised by that. I was expecting more belts. No, I think it was the 24/7 belt. I believe it was in there. Wait a minute, I think it's right there. Someone's like, no 24/7 belt, like lower left, brother. There it is, right there. There's that eagle eye. How many belts are here? 1, 2, 3, 5. Not enough. So the Vision is in the ring. Got Paul Heyman out there, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. Breakker was suspended 2 weeks ago by Adam Pearce, but he was invited by Pearce to return to the show here tonight. Why? We don't know. We're about to find out. Heyman noted that Breakker was there because Adam Pearce wanted a face-to-face, but Heyman wanted to examine why this was happening in the first place. So he showed a replay of Pearce putting his hands on Bron Breakker a few weeks ago when he spun him around in the ring. This is before Bron Breakker threatened to murder this man. But he said, he put his hands on him first. And so then he showed a replay of Rey Mysterio pinning Austin Theory last week, thanks to Adam Pearce planting the brass knucks, which the Vision introduced. But they were left on the ring apron as Pearce was sort of arguing in the aisle with Paul Heyman. Rey Mysterio picked up the brass knucks and he used them to beat Austin Theory last week. So we got to see a replay of all of this stuff. Adam Pearce comes out to the ring and he acknowledged that things got way out of hand. And he's man enough to admit to Bron Breakker in front of the world that things got out of hand because he put his hands on him first. And for that, he apologizes. And he pledges that that will not happen again. Heyman went to go speak. Pearce cut him off and he said, "You would like for me to reinstate Bron Breakker, wouldn't you? And you would like for me to put him in the Royal Rumble, wouldn't you?" And he goes, "Well, it's already done. The paperwork has been filed. Bron Breakker is officially reinstated, and Bron Breakker is officially in the Royal Rumble match." So Heyman wanted to go shake his hand, and Pearce told him, "You're such a tremendous negotiator. Let me take it one step further." And he goes, "All the other members in the ring right now of the Vision, all of you got Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Logan Paul. You're all in the Royal Rumble too. The entire Vision is in the Royal Rumble match." And for Austin Theory, he feels like he needs a chance at redemption against Rey Mysterio after what happened with the brass knucks. So tonight, it's going to be Austin Theory one-on-one with Rey Mysterio, which immediately brought out Rey Mysterio, who was flanked by Penta and Dragon Lee. So their match was coming up next. So when the segment was over, all the members of the Vision were very happy. Paul Heyman kind of looked confused, and Michael Cole didn't know what to make of any of this. And I said at the beginning of the review, I was just waiting, maybe like when the match was over, for the other shoe to drop, like, "Oh, by the way, right, you're going to come in at number 1," or something like that. And that never happened. So Michael Cole also made mention of the phone call that Adam Pearce had gotten on his phone. And so that's going somewhere. I don't know where it's going. If it's someone in a position of authority within WWE or TKO, it can't be Triple H. I mean, that's be fucking lame, right? He's sitting in the back. We already know this. Thanks, Unreal. So it can't be Triple H. There's only one other name that would even make sense, and that would be The Rock. And I don't see The Rock being involved in any of this stuff. So I don't know where the story is going, right? It's intriguing. Hopefully they have an interesting destination for it. But right now it's just Adam Pearce basically tucking his tail between his legs and doing what the Vision wants him to do. Now, why would he do that? It's got to be a reason for it. Fuck if I know what it is, but it's an interesting little twist on this at least. But I was just waiting for there to be some sort of follow-up to this, and there wasn't. But we did have Rey Mysterio one-on-one against Austin Theory, which was joined already in progress. The match began during a commercial break. So late in the match, Rey tried a springboard crossbody. Theory just blasted him out of midair with a forearm shot. And then a flatliner variation. Dragon Lee checked on Rey outside the ring, so Logan shoved him. And outside Penta super kicked Logan Paul. Dragon Lee tried to take out Bronson Reed. Reed, though, caught him and drove him into the barricade before Logan yanked Penta off the apron. Rey kicked Logan, but that distraction allowed Theory to hit the ring with a curb stomp to Mysterio for the win. Pretty much a nothing match, just to, set up a Theory win here. When the match was over, Bron Breakker attacked Penta. He attacked Dragon Lee. The Vision laid out both men. Logan Paul gave Lee a frog splash. Breakker gave Penta a spear. And then Bronson Reed went up top, finished off Penta with a tsunami splash. And so at that point, the Vision goes to pick up Rey Mysterio. And the referee, Rod Zapata, is screaming at these guys, trying to stop them from picking Rey up because he was laying on the mat, kind of like under the rope in the corner. And the referee gets into the ring and he's clearly trying to communicate something to them. And then if you watch, you can see Logan Paul, he kind of gets what's going on here. And he goes over to Bron Breakker and you can see him mouth the words like, he's fucked. And Bron looks over and he's like, okay. So they pick Penta back up. And then Breakker, does his 23 mile an hour running dash back and forth and spears Penta again. So Rey Mysterio got hurt. And I don't know what the injury is. I don't know if there is an injury. I don't know if maybe he got his bell rung on the curb stomp. And maybe they were just trying to protect him in the event. Kind of like the Javon Evans thing. They stopped Javon's match last week. And we were all wondering, did he break his wrist? Did the shoulder demon attack him? Like, what happened to Javon Evans? Is he concussed? There was a fear that maybe he was concussed, but he ended up being okay. Maybe it's a similar situation here with Rey, but they were treating him like he was hurt. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, Rey just came back from an injury in November. So I hope he's not hurt. That could open up a spot in the Royal Rumble, which would actually be very interesting given what I'll talk about a little bit later on. Since the Rumble's fully booked, I don't know that Rey Mysterio is going to be making the trip over to Saudi after what happened here tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, but clearly it was a legit injury and they were trying to keep him away from what was going on there. We got a vignette here with Natalya where she was talking about Maxine Dupree. She said, Maxine, I made you. You didn't fail yourself, she said. You failed me. You're just like the rest of them. You think because you rolled with a legend that you can roll like a legend. But that will never happen again. This is a whole new me. And when I'm done with you, I'm coming for it all. Referring to the Intercontinental title. Because Natalya elevates, but Natty decimates. And Natty is the name that she was going by on the outside shows that WWE let her do, like the Bloodsport shows. She was going by Natty Neidhart. So basically that's confirmation of what we already suspected, which is that they're going to allow her to go through this character transformation and be that version of Natty, but do it on WWE television. And I don't know if it's going to come off as well, if she's going to come out to the ring with a whole entourage like she was doing on the Barnett shows. I don't know, but look, Natty has been around for so long. If they're going to do something with her, I am all for freshening her character up in some way. So I'd love to see them try. I don't know how this feud with Maxine is going to go, but I wouldn't give up on Maxine. I mean, they took the Intercontinental title away from her, which was the right move. We're heading into WrestleMania. Becky Lynch is the right person to be holding that belt. Maxine Dupree going into WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion does not get that championship on the WrestleMania card. Like, there is 0% chance that there is an IC title defense at WrestleMania this year if Maxine Dupree has that belt. If Becky Lynch has the belt, I don't want to say there's a 100% chance, but we're probably going to get Becky and AJ Lee. There's a very good chance that that title will actually get defended on one of the 2 nights of WrestleMania. So I have no issue with them taking the belt off of her, but do not take her off of TV. Let her work with somebody else because she has to keep working. The only way she's ever going to improve and get better is if she continues to consistently get, matches on television, get her involved in some kind of story. It may not light the world on fire. You may not be a huge fan of it, but this is exactly what they need to be doing with her. And instead of working with Becky, she'll be working with Natty. That's a great person for her to work with. And when all is said and done, Natty will put her over. And hopefully when it's over, Maxine will be better off for it. So I don't mind that story. Now, elsewhere in the bag, Raquel Rodriguez was screaming for Stephanie Vicaire. Bailey was on the phone nearby, called her an idiot, and said, can't you see him on the phone? Lyra Valkyria stepped in. Raquel says, you're lucky that I have more important business to tend to. And Raquel screamed for Adam Pearce. Instead, here comes Stephanie Vicaire, and a fight broke out. Agents were trying to break them up. Earlier today, Michael Cole had a chance to sit down with the ring general, Gunther, for a sit-down interview. I hope it goes better than the interview he attempted to do with Cody Rhodes on Friday. Said Saturday at the Royal Rumble, you take on AJ Styles. But he said, something's been bugging me all week. Why not just have the rematch? So why force him to put his career on the line? And Gunther says, what is there for me to gain if I just beat AJ again? He says, now I have something phenomenal to gain. I could take his career away from him. It's like, for him, it's like a fucking infinity stone, right? This would be number 3. Goldberg, Cena, AJ would make number 3. Who's number 4? So Michael Cole said that AJ has made it very clear that 2026 is going to be his final year. He wants to take on some of his greatest rivals, like he did with Shinsuke Nakamura the other night. Why rob the fans of these moments? And Gunther is sick and tired, he said, of these old-timers overstaying their welcome, chasing one more moment. That's right. That's right, Jericho. Gunther's coming for you. Because those moments, they belong to him. Said Bill Goldberg was chasing another moment, and he took it away from him. John Cena was chasing moments for a full year. But what are they going to talk about now? They're going to talk about how he gave up in his very last match. And AJ, I'm sure that you've had this great idea for what your farewell would look like, but I'm not interested in that. He goes, speaking of old-timers, he told Michael Cole that you fall into that category as well. And he asked him, how long do you plan to stick around here and chase another moment? He goes, I could kick your chair over right now and end your career right now. He goes, but don't worry, I want you to sit there at the Royal Rumble, and I want to hear you call the match, and I want to hear you say the career of the phenomenal AJ Styles is over. And then we got the great comic book villain laugh from Gunther, and he goes, it's going to be great. He's such a great smug asshole. He just is. Like, I almost don't ever want to see him go babyface, even though I think at some point he'll make a great babyface, but like, he's just so good just being himself and then hamming it up like this. He's fucking great at it. So backstage, Finn Balor found Adam Pearce. Oh, this is great. So he finds Adam Pearce and he tells him, I am officially declaring myself for the Royal Rumble. And Adam Pearce has this like exasperated look on his face. And he's like, why did you wait so long? He goes, it's all booked up. All 30 spots, apparently, in the Royal Rumble match have been booked up. The Rumble is full. So Finn Balor cannot even get into the Royal Rumble. Now, I want to point out something else to you here. Right before this, there was a segment tonight where Javon Evans was being interviewed by Byron Saxton. And Javon Evans declared for the Royal Rumble. So Javon Evans can declare for the Royal Rumble. But Finn Balor goes to declare for the Royal Rumble. And Adam Pearce basically tells him, tough shit. The Rumble is full. That's sad. That's just sad. So Balor walked off. Although, again, now if Rey Mysterio is hurt, I'm just saying that would open up a spot in the Royal Rumble. So Balor walked off. Liv Morgan was waiting for him in the hallway, just leaning up against the wall. She wanted to know, what's up with you and Punk? Says, he showed Balor up in Balor's own hometown and then raised your arm like some kind of participation trophy. And you tell him thank you? You thank him for it? She also heard Punk tell him to leave the Judgment Day. And she says, you don't honestly believe that he wants to see you become the world champion, do you? Do you know who does? The Judgment Day. Because we are your family. Balor told Liv, look, this isn't as straightforward as it seems, so let me figure it out. And off he went. We had a fatal four-way to decide the new number one contenders to the Usos in the World Tag Team titles. With the New Day, the Creed brothers. Yes, they're still employed, believe it or not. The Creed brothers. Otis and Tozawa, and the Americanos. Bravo and Rayo. Americano. I wonder if Bravo and Rayo have spots in the Royal Rumble, but Finn Balor doesn't. See, that would be fucked up. That would be super fucked up. Jey Uso came through the crowd before any of these teams made their entrances, by the way. He came through, he yeeted through the crowd, and maybe on himself a little bit as he was walking. And he made his way down to ringside. No Jimmy. No Jimmy. Jimmy is still home with the missus. So Jay came down to ringside to observe. But, you know, I mentioned the Creed brothers, and I was curious. I said, boy, I cannot remember the last time I saw these guys on Monday Night Raw. And so I looked it up, and the last time that the Creeds worked a match on this show was July. And funny enough, that was also a number one contender. That was a triple threat number one contenders match, which they did not win. Obviously, they did not win since that was their last fucking match outside of main event. So yes, from July to almost February, and Julius and Brutus were back here on the show. So during a break in this match, Xavier Woods, this was during commercial, Xavier Woods went over to Michael Cole at the announce desk and loudly told him, I am Xavier, and that is Kofi. Get it right from here on out. And Cole was very confused. He goes, what was that all about? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that last week, Michael Cole confused Javon Evans with Kofi Kingston. Just a guess. Maybe it has something to do with that. We haven't forgotten. So the crowd did not react to anything really until Otis tagged in. Everyone attacked Otis. And so Akira Tozawa made the save. He hit Bravo with a German suplex. Tozawa wiped out all three teams with suicide dives. Tozawa set up Kofi for a diving senton, but Woods distracted the referee. So Grayson Waller, who was out there with them, he tripped up Tozawa. I don't know why it was necessary for Xavier Woods to take the referee before Waller did this, because it is a fatal four-way, which means there are no disqualifications in a fatal four-way. But evidently he had to distract the referee. So then on the floor outside, Jey Uso super kicked Waller over the barricade and into the crowd. Otis beat up the other teams basically single-handedly here. And Tozawa followed with a huge, he got some, he was up in the fucking clouds on this one. He just dove up into the air and came crashing down onto Julius Creed with a diving senton, and he pinned Julius Creed. And so the Alpha Academy beats American Made to become the number one contenders now for the World Tag Team titles, which wasn't really a big surprise just because they kind of set this up at a backstage segment a couple weeks ago. where Otis got super serious in the back with Jey Uso. And so I kind of thought, I mean, I was thinking maybe New Day would win, but I was like, maybe that Otis match is going to happen soon. So sure enough, Otis and Tozawa got the win. I do have to say this, though. You know, I've talked about SmackDown. I've talked about the lack of top heels on SmackDown. I've talked about the just absolute destruction of the women's division on SmackDown. I've talked about how cold the tag team division has gotten on SmackDown as compared to how it was a year ago. I don't think that the Raw tag team division has gotten enough said about it recently either, because it's not just a SmackDown problem. When you look at a number one contenders match, and in your number one contenders match, you have Otis and Tozawa, you have Bravo and Rayo, Americano, and you have the Creeds, who have not been able to buy time like a fucking infomercial. They couldn't even buy time on this show. You have to go back to the summer before they even wrestled on this show. What does that say about the state of the tag team division here on Monday nights, that this is your number one contenders match? It doesn't speak very highly to the state of the tag team division. It doesn't speak very highly to the fact that they split these titles and actually made the divisions on their own. They are weaker on their own than they would be if they were unified, which is what those titles should still be. But I'm looking at the names of the people in this match, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a number one contenders match here. Sad. It's sad. It really is. I mean, the state of affairs with the tag belts and the tag divisions right now, it's the women's tag team division is the strongest tag division of any kind in the entire company. When did that happen? Jackie Redmond, who was in the back wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, or a jacket, I guess, interviewed Becky Lynch. Once again, the women's Intercontinental Champion. And Becky called her win last week monumental. Jackie wouldn't know anything about monumental wearing a jacket like that, she said. So Becky noted that Natalya going crazy after the match, she pointed that out when she beat up Maxine. And she says she understood because Natty trained. What does she call Maxine? What's the nickname that she gave her? Is it Mid, or is there another word for it? I actually laughed when she said it. Now I forgot what it was. Anyway, she said that she trained Maxine from nothing, and she remained nothing. And she compared it to training, like her training loser Lyra. So now Lyra catching strays for no reason. Said now Natalya was coming after her title, but Natalya would have to win the Royal Rumble first, and that was laughable because she was entering the Royal Rumble. So then Kairi Sane and Asuka walked up. Moody Maxine. I don't think it was Moody. I thought it was something else. Maybe it was Mid. Maybe it was Mid. Oh, Mediocre? Mediocre Maxine. I think that's what it was. I like that, actually. I like that. Mediocre Maxine. I think that's what it was. Wow, that's perfect timing. I was just about to say Kairi and Asuka. They show up. Kairi says that Becky will not win the Royal Rumble because Asuka is going to win the Royal Rumble. And Becky was not ready for Asuka. So Becky said, as a matter of fact, I am ready for Asuka. In fact, I've beaten Asuka before. Kairi tried to explain this to Asuka because Becky was like, go ahead and tell her what I just said. And Kairi did not want to. Yeah, she was deathly afraid to say this to Asuka, but she tried to, and Asuka cut her off and said, I heard what she said. And she told Becky, I'll see you in the Royal Rumble. And Asuka walked off, and of course, Kairi hung back and was attempting to say something to Becky when... Kairi! Yes, Asuka yelled, and poor Kairi went off. Poor Kairi. I don't know if Kairi is in the Rumble itself. She has said that she will make sure that Asuka wins. Watching this here, I didn't get the impression that she will be in the Rumble herself, but maybe she will. I don't know. I mean, look, if Balor has no spots in the men's Rumble, he may as well just enter the women's Rumble. Evidently, they have plenty of spots in the women's Royal Rumble. I mean, if technically you could choose the champion of your choice, what's stopping Finn Balor from entering the Women's Rumble at the very end and dumping out whoever's in the end and then claiming his World Heavyweight Championship match? So backstage, Stephanie Vaquer told Adam Pearce, "I want Raquel Rodriguez, but not in a match. I want her in a fight." And Pearce said, "Consider it made. Not for the Royal Rumble, but for Raw next week. They're going to be in Philadelphia, so the two of them are going to have a Philadelphia street fight." Elsewhere, the Judgment Day met inside their dressing room. Or rather, not the Judgment Day, the Vision. The Vision met inside the Judgment Day's dressing room, I guess. Bronson Reed was asking, "What's the plan?" And Logan Paul said that since we have an advantage here, we should make sure that one of us leaves as the winner of the Royal Rumble. And he said that he thinks the winner should be, and he points to Bron Breakker, who is sitting over next to Paul Heyman. "I think Bron Breakker should win the Royal Rumble." And Bronson Reed agreed, and then Austin Theory agreed, and Paul Heyman patted Breakker on the back. And then after this, we got another video package for Obafemi. But now we know when we are going to see Obafemi on TV, he will be in the Royal Rumble, which I think we all kind of suspected anyway. But now it's official that he will be debuting on the main roster in the Royal Rumble. And automatically that makes him one of the top 5 favorites to win the match, just by virtue of him being in it. Even though I believe he's not going to win, but I think that Brock Lesnar will be in there and Obafemi will eliminate Brock Lesnar to kick off whatever program those two are going to have heading into WrestleMania. That's my prediction. And then it was main event time for the World Heavyweight Championship, with CM Punk defending against AJ Styles, their first ever it's hard to believe, but their first ever singles match in a WWE ring. Their first match against each other since an IWA Mid-South match in 2004. We got the big fight introductions here from Lillian Garcia. So we had modest dueling chants here. We had modest chants for both these men really from the get-go. And it never really picked up for the rest of the match. The fans, and they said there were 17,000 people. A lot of people in that building there in Toronto. And it's Toronto. It's a Canadian wrestling crowd. Normally they're very raucous and loud and energetic. And it almost felt like I was watching a New Japan match here. You know, they were very quiet for a good portion of this match. So they got started here. Each man went for their finish early on. They countered, and it led to Styles applying a cradle. Punk got the better of their next exchange. He hit AJ with an elbow and then a chop to the back. So Styles was in control through a commercial break. Crowd chanted for tables. Punk followed with a neck breaker. Hit a lifting knee strike, a bulldog, and a shining wizard for 2. AJ came back with a running forearm, corner splash. Punk fired right back with a clothesline. So Styles blocked a GTS. He followed with a fireman's carry neck breaker for 2. Punk blocked AJ, or knocked him rather, off the middle turnbuckle, hit a flying elbow drop. Punk immediately applied an anaconda vice until AJ countered out of it, and he tried setting up for a Styles clash. Punk, though, drove him backwards into the buckles. Punk tried a shining wizard again. Styles, though, caught him and set up for a Styles clash. Punk was able to avoid it again, so Styles dumped him out of the ring. And Punk there was a sliding knee strike on the apron that AJ went for here. And Punk blocked it, and he caught him on his shoulders, and he gave him a GTS, but he gave it to him outside the ring. So now AJ is down. He's leaning up against the barricade. Punk is down. Referee is counting. Punk makes it back into the ring at around the 8 count. AJ just dove back into the ring before 10. Because Punk had tried to pick him up. He was dead weight, so he had to just get back in the ring. But again, AJ got back in, and he's just laying there. He's like a dead body, just laying there face down on the ground. And Punk doesn't know what to do with him. You know, Punk gets up. He's not quite sure what to do next. All of a sudden, AJ catches him with a Styles clash, and he got a near fall out of it. So Styles went for a phenomenal forearm. Punk knocked him off the rope. They exchanged some strikes. Styles took him down with a Pele kick. And AJ tried setting up for the clash again before Punk got him on his shoulders for a GTS attempt. Styles held on to the top rope. He's holding on for dear life. And as the two of them are struggling here and jockeying for position, Finn Balor shows up. Like, I was expecting there to be a fuck finish in this match. I was not expecting Finn Balor to show up. Finn Balor shows up in the ring. He drop kicks Punk into the corner, which knocks AJ out to the floor in the process. And the referee calls for the very predictable and still lame, but very predictable disqualification. Balor drop kick Punk into the timekeeper's barricade. This was actually kind of funny because they're outside the ring and they tried to do the spot, and we see this every fucking week on these shows. But Punk's over by the timekeeper's barricade. And Balor, he's measuring him from afar. He comes charging in with a shotgun drop kick. And he knocks Punk back into the barricade. Barricade doesn't break. So he goes to do it again. And he comes flying in with another drop kick to Punk. And he knocks him into the barricade. And the barricade does not break. And you could tell, like, it was supposed to break. Like, they were even shooting it from the other side, waiting for it to break through. Didn't break. So Balor just gives up and throws him into the ring. And he climbs up to the top rope, but he comes flying off with the coup de grace. Punk then kind of rolls over onto his side, which left his ribs exposed. I am the barricade. Yeah. Normally it's I am the table, right? I am the barricade. Hey, at least, you know what? It always breaks. This time it stood its ground. It would not break. So Punk is laying there on his side and his ribs are exposed. So Balor goes up to the top rope. He hits another coup de grace, this time to the ribs. And then Punk is on his back and he goes up one more time. He hits a third coup de grace. And then he stood tall, did Finn Balor, to close out the show, which doesn't happen very often. It didn't happen in Belfast last week, but it happened tonight. So he may have been denied a spot in the Royal Rumble match, but it's pretty evident that Punk just found an opponent for the Elimination Chamber in Chicago. And we're going to get one more World Heavyweight Championship match here, which means another loss for Finn Balor. But at least he's going to get a World Heavyweight Championship match. At least he'll be doing something of note. The match itself, I got to be honest with you, I really wish I could sit here and tell you I love this match. I didn't think this match was that great at all. I thought the match was very boring. I thought the match was very sluggish. It was very disappointing. And both of them, but more so Punk. And maybe part of it was him selling, but just the way he was moving and everything, again, it was just very sluggish. He looked gassed. Whether he was or not, that's how it came off. I mean, they're selling and kind of taking your time with things and taking a little too much time. And the crowd was very quiet, for most of the match. They weren't really as up for it as you would expect. Because this very well, we may have just witnessed AJ's final ever Raw match. Like, I can believe that now. I can believe that this is it. And he's going to wrap up on Saturday, and maybe he'll pop up in a few other places and have some final matches with some other people and other organizations. We may well have seen his final Raw match here. And I wish it was one of these matches where the crowd was like hanging on to every near fall, and it was like this big epic match, which is kind of how I felt about him and Nakamura on Saturday. Like, you go back and watch that match and compare it to this match. And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's almost night and day. That was an excellent match. This was not. I thought this was very disappointing. But I'm glad they did it. This is the match I wanted to see. I was hoping it would be better, but I'm glad they did it, especially if this was their last chance to do it. I thought the rest of the show was very dull. Main event did not deliver. The main event did not save the show. Let's put it that way. And the crowd was what it was, 17,000 people, but I don't know. Didn't really get a whole lot, I guess, to get excited about. That women's tag match, honestly, that was the best thing on the show. The women's 6-man tag in hour 1. But look, the build to the Royal Rumble has been horrendous. absolutely horrendous. I'm hoping the show itself delivers. I thought last year's show, especially the men's Rumble, was actually very good. Whatever you think about Jey Uso winning, I just thought it was a very good Rumble. So I'm hopeful. There's going to be a lot of big names in the Rumble. Roman, we got another, I think it was the same video package from last week. And the graphic, telling us that Roman Reigns has declared and he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Brock, I'm expecting Brock to be in there. LA Knight will probably be back. The entire Vision is in there. Cody is going to be in there. Jacob Fatu is going to be in there. Obafemi is going to be in there. And we'll see, if Jericho pops up and if there's any other surprises, in the Rumble itself. I don't know if Gunther is pulling double duty like he kind of teased that he might be last week. If he's not winning the Rumble, then I don't think he should be in it. And I don't think he's winning the Rumble, so I don't think Gunther should be in it. But the Women's Rumble, will we see Bianca? I hope so. SmackDown could definitely use her right now. If we don't get Bianca, I think Liv Morgan is going to win that Royal Rumble. And as far as any surprises, probably see some NXT faces in there. Sol Ruka, maybe people like that. AJ Lee. If Becky is in the Rumble, then I fully expect AJ Lee will be in the Royal Rumble. So I always look forward to the Rumble regardless. I just wish they put more effort into really building this up as like a big deal this weekend. I would sit here and tell you I can't believe it, but you know what? They got paid. They're getting a lot of money for this show. And it's not like there's a whole lot of concern on their part about selling tickets, right? They just built a fucking stadium there. Believe me, they'll find people to occupy those seats. I don't think that's going to be hard for them to do. But you're not going to have people flying over here from the States in droves to go to the Royal Rumble this weekend. And I think they just kind of took it for granted. It's like, well, it's almost like a sold show. So they didn't really have to worry as much as maybe normally they would. And it's reflected. It's reflected in the effort they put into the build-up here. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think of Raw from Toronto? 57% thumbs up for tonight's show, 26.5% thumbs in the middle, and 16% thumbs down. BlissFan is going to punch a hole in the wall on Saturday. Oh, yeah. Alexa Bliss does not win the Royal Rumble. He's going to be very upset. He's made that very clear. Oh, man. Yeah, I saw photos of the stadium. It is very amazing to see there was nothing there 3 weeks ago. And now there is a stadium that has been built out of scaffolding that supposedly fits in the area of 30,000 people. And it looks like a full stadium. I don't know if I'd want to be one of the people testing it to make sure that the infrastructure is going to hold up okay. But it's pretty incredible how quickly they were able to turn that around. I will say that. The Styles World Tour begins February 1st, says Arabian Night. It seems like it. I hope so. I would hate it if this was legitimately his last match this weekend. But, he did say last year, when he initially announced that this year was going to be his last year, he did say that people, they don't see what goes into these matches, getting ready and prep for them, and then the fallout from them, the cool down, and what it takes out of his 48-year-old body or whatever, 49-year-old body. Which I can understand that. But it's going to be very, very disappointing, though, if you start what you told people was going to be your last year in wrestling, and in one of your first matches of the year, you just end it. Because the man can still go. He proved that on Saturday. He proved that in the first match with Gunther. He's believe me, he's got enough left in the tank to get some more big matches out of it. Yeah, no, I agree. I would love to see him sign these little short-term limited deals with everyone. He'll be more than welcome in House of Glory if he wants to come to HOG. We would love to have AJ Styles. We would love it. But TNA, AEW, again, maybe New Japan. I would love to see him do a real world tour. I think that'd be amazing. And would you believe that we have actually hit 500 likes? We hit the goal. The expanded goal. You guys did it. Holy shit. I wasn't sure we were going to do it, but we did. How about that? So you got at least one round to be the booker coming your way. There's a bonus goal in the chat if you want to shoot for 2, but we'll get the 1. Joseph Stewart, as he always does, showing love here on a Monday night. What does CM Punk say every week? Is it great to be alive with Joseph Stewart on a Monday night? Happy Monday, he says. Were you a fan of Thundercats, the cartoon show? Yes. That was my childhood. Are you kidding me? He-Man and Thundercats. He-Man and Lino and Mumura. All those characters. Kairi. I don't remember Kairi from Thundercats, but it's possible she was on there. She-Ra. I never actually watched the She-Ra cartoon, believe it or not. Were you a fan of the movie Red Sonja? No, never saw it. Did you know Star Wars was an influence on Masters of the Universe? Yeah, I mean, I think that was their way of trying to just... It was like a cash grab, you know? They saw the success of Star Wars and they tried to come up with something on their own. I'm sure it spawned a lot of copycats. Masters of the Universe or Thundercats? That's like asking me... It's like me having twins and you're asking me to pit them against each other and pick my favorite child. But I'll go with Masters of the Universe. He-Man or Conan the Barbarian? He-Man. And She-Ra. Look at this. It's like a lightning round here. Teela, She-Ra, Skeletor. There you go. Frank Langella as Skeletor or Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor? I'm going with Frank. I think Frank did a bang-up job. Han Solo or Lone Star? Neither. Don't care for either one. Princess Leia or Vespa? I've never owned a Vespa. And I don't know a princess named Vespa. Darth Vader or Dark Helmet? Dark Helmet. Yoda or Yogurt? What? Okay, Spaceballs, of course. Another favorite of mine from many years ago. I love that. Yoda or Yogurt? I'm going Yogurt and I'm going Barf over Chewbacca. Oh, I do miss John Candy. Emperor Palpatine or President Scroob? I don't know. Palpatine. Dot Matrix and C-3PO. I love it. Jabba the Hutt or Pizza the... Oh, come on. Pizza the Hutt. Gotta go Pizza the Hutt. Would you like to see Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan do a movie together? What kind of movie are we talking about here? What made them change plans from Bret Hart to Stone Cold winning the Royal Rumble in 1997? I don't think it was necessarily plans changing on that. I mean, originally they were going to do a Final Four, and you know, the idea was that Bret, I think, would win that, and then do Bret and Shawn. I think they were just trying to come up with a way to get to the Final Four gimmick. Because they were building that whole In Your House in February around this whole Final Four concept. Was it always the plan for Vince McMahon to win the Royal Rumble in 1999? As far as I know. So I hope you had a great weekend, Solomonster. Have a wonderful week. You as well. Stay safe, Joseph. It says, happy birthday to Mercedes Monet. Yeah, I think, was it, is it her 34th birthday, I believe? Happy birthday to the CEO. MGM Ballin says, I hate that my brain thought of this, but what does Jey Uso say when he's motorboating? Main event Jey Uso is now in... Main event Jey Uso is now in your titties. I hate that I laughed. You hate that you came up with it. I hate that I laughed at it. Super Pony says, why is Bob Holly on social media every week burying Sami Zayn? What is his problem? That is not Bob Holly. I think that used to be Bob's account. It's kind of like the Psycho Sid account. People thought it was Sid. It was not Sid. And I don't believe that's actually Bob Holly. Ross Lawman says, Cena said after his match that people would move on by the Royal Rumble. Wonder if he knew that AJ was retiring then also. Makes me think AJ really is done. No, I mean, the point that Cena was making is just that he understands that once he's retired and once he's gone, within a matter of weeks, people are going to move on and they're not really going to be talking about him anymore. And that's exactly what happened because life goes on. He wasn't wrong about that. I don't think that had anything to do with AJ, though. Aaron says Gunther was giving Cole Heidenreich flashbacks. Yeah, we don't need none of that. He was getting some PTSD from that. Holiday 197 says, hi, Solo. I think we're getting Roman against Braun at WrestleMania. Roman eliminates Braun, and then Braun comes back in and attacks and eliminates Roman. I could maybe see Jericho winning to challenge Punk for the world. Jericho winning? The Royal Rumble? I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Give me backshot Solomonster. Liv Raquel Vicaire is more likely than Liv Vicaire at WrestleMania, in my opinion. I agree. Chris O'Neill, does Jericho use Judas at least once when he returns to WWE? Yes, he does. Might not be Saturday, but at some point, yes, I believe he does. The Sheltered Kid. I blame myself for being excited for the main event. I've been wanting to see since Punk came back. This company disgusts me on a whole other level. Wow. Are you upset over the finish or are you upset over the quality of the match? Because the match wasn't really that good. Holiday says, so we're getting CM Punk against Finn Balor at Elimination Chamber in Chicago by the sounds of it. Punk is definitely carrying the World Heavyweight Championship to WrestleMania. I think by this point that was pretty obvious. Willie Billy says Tozawa sold that clothesline like it was the last thing he was sent on earth to do. I'm telling you, man, the height he gets on that senton is crazy. Chris O'Neill says Balor could have had a babyface run coming. Shaking my head. He will. They're just delaying it for a little bit. But he's got one coming. He's going to be going after Dom before long. Joseph Morris. In my opinion, Liv is the main character of Raw, and Raw was missing someone with the main character energy while Liv was out. I wouldn't say she's the main character. I would say she is one of the main characters. I think Punk would probably be considered the main character on the show. Especially since I think everything really does revolve around the World Heavyweight Championship, and he happens to have the World Heavyweight Championship. The Sheltered Kid, what do you think the job is as a pro wrestler? Good matches, winning matches, or getting over with the crowd? Or does it all depend on the type of wrestler? Everyone has their role on the show. Some people's role is not to win matches. It's to lose matches, to make other people look good. So there is no one role other than to just entertain. They're all entertainers. They're all supposed to be entertaining the fans in some form or fashion. But everyone's role on the show is different. Some people are main eventers. Some people are enhancement talents meant to enhance other people and make them look good more than themselves. Some people are on the show to be comedic. Some people are on the show to be anything but comedic and be taken more seriously. You have monster types. Some people are wrestlers. Some people are managers. Johnny Burney says, AJ Styles, London, calling you this summer. So what are we thinking then for London? Because I'm thinking, provided he is back and cleared medically in time for the show, got to be looking at MJF, right, and Will Ospreay. Or maybe not. I mean, I suppose it could be Ospreay against somebody else. Yeah, if Kenny was to wrestle MJF, let's say a Double or Nothing, would they put the championship on Kenny? Because Kenny lost to MJF the first time. And then do Omega and Ospreay. Is that a possibility? Because MJF and Ospreay would make sense, but they did wrestle at Wembley already. And Ospreay beat him already. So there is a part of me that looks at that and goes, you run it back again, it's just a different belt, but you're doing the same match with the same outcome? I don't know. But I mean, AJ Styles getting a big Wembley Stadium match. If you're Tony Khan, you're salivating at the idea of being able to promote an AJ Styles match on his retirement tour for Wembley Stadium, because that will sell tickets. Roderick says, I'd rather see Omega versus Ospreay. If AJ shows up in London, put him against MJF. You know what? That works too. Because if MJF loses the belt before Wembley, then it becomes, okay, what does MJF do? That's a big attraction. MJF and AJ Styles. I like it. I like that a lot. GTA 6 will come out before AJ Styles joins AEW. You know, I might have said that a few weeks ago, but it definitely seems possible. The Uffman. The build of the stadium for the Rumble has been more interesting than the build for the PLE. That's right. You know what? That's a good point. The literal build of the actual stadium for the show has been more interesting than the build for the PLE. You are not wrong. And that is sad. Alexander, how are they booking AJ's retirement, or how they are booking AJ's retirement is disgraceful. It only makes sense if they know he's leaving. Arabian Night. Tonight, AJ mentioned Gunther ending his WWE career. Maybe his overall career doesn't end in Saudi Arabia. In my opinion, AJ signs per appearance deal with TNA and AEW. That's what we just talked about. Death Scythe. I prayed for Punk and AJ, and it happened. The Mount Vernon Kid. Let's just remember, Solo, we had it worse here in New York. Remember the blizzard of 1996? Oh, I remember. I don't give a shit that we've had it worse. It doesn't matter. I don't measure every storm against storms of the past. I measure it by how much snow is on the ground. And there's way too much of it on the ground. But yes, that storm in 96 was legendary. Chicago for MBK. Great stream as always. So what are your thoughts on why the promotional push for the Rumble was not as strong this year? All the reasons I mentioned before. I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, it being in Saudi. It's just it's different because you're not promoting, certainly in terms of like selling tickets when they run these baseball stadiums. And they don't have a lot of issues selling tickets these days, but you know, you're trying to sell tickets. it's still an attraction where you have to sell tickets. So they don't really have to worry about that now. And they're getting this guaranteed money for the show. I think that psychologically, it's like, okay, they kind of just take it for granted. And it's like they're looking ahead to WrestleMania. And it's like, this is, I said it's like a sold show. If you've never heard that expression before, it's basically what this is. And there's really no pressure on them. To them, it's just another show. So they've just taken a very lazy approach with it. Want to get people excited. And I think part of it, honestly, is that they realize, and they're not totally wrong in this, they realize it's the Rumble. People love the Rumble. So we don't have to do too much because the Rumble sells itself. And they're not totally wrong. I mean, I think that's a poor attitude to have, but they're not totally wrong. You know, come Saturday, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very excited because it's the Royal Rumble. Nick Grasso says, do you think Paige is going to be a surprise entry in the Women's Royal Rumble? She pulled out of a convention this weekend and she's training. She also said that she's overhauling her ring style. She's focusing on cardio and safety. It's possible, I guess. I really haven't been thinking about her, so, you know, it'll be a surprise for me, I suppose, if she shows up. I don't really... I mean, maybe. I haven't really been paying any attention to it, so anything's possible. Crazy Wrestling. There's video of AJ. WBD will... Oh, that's from TNA. WBD will never allow him to be signed. Can't believe no one is mentioning this. Those videos are on YouTube. Well, it's amazing what people will excuse when you're a big name. Don't be so sure about that. Jeremy Rose, when Balor was told the Rumble was filled, my first thought was Jericho took his spot, leading to a feud and a WrestleMania match. However, WWE is not that creative. I don't know. I feel like Balor and Dom is something that story-wise would make a lot more sense. But Jericho and Balor is a match I could see. I still tend to lean towards Jericho, you know, assuming Jericho's back, and because we're all kind of assuming he's going to be back. We don't know for sure, but Jericho and LA Knight is the match I keep coming back to. And I've had people mention to me like, oh, you know, he's going to be going on tour again soon with Fozzy. And if you look at the Fozzy tour schedule, like he's got tour dates in England next month, but it doesn't conflict with Elimination Chamber. There's no dates that conflict with WrestleMania, because I think that the next dates are in May. So that doesn't mean anything. There's no Fozzy conflict with any major WWE events coming up. So I would not read anything into his tour dates. Boomerang. It was pretty funny seeing Javon wear a Boston Red Sox Scully in Toronto just to see him confused by the "Let's Go Blue Jays" chants. William Valencia. It's looking like after Styles, Gunther is ending Michael Cole's career at WrestleMania. Well, they already had him against one announcer. They had him against Pat McAfee, so I would put nothing past these people. And knowing Bruce Pritchard, he'll throw that out there at the booking meeting. Well, you know, it'd be awfully predictable for Gunther to be Michael Cole, so maybe we should have Michael Cole be Gunther, because that'll be unpredictable. Kung Fu Joseph. Cena and Punk's last match was in Saudi, and AJ's last match looks like it will be there. Is WWE doing this show? Fans that Saudi PLEs are important to get them ready for Mania next year? No, I don't think that's what's going into it. I don't think that there's a strategy here. I don't think that people are going to think, oh, well, WrestleMania next year is not important because it's in Saudi. The fact that they're getting WrestleMania, they'll know it's an important show. I don't think there has to be any sort of long-term strategy here to get people to believe that it's going to be a big show next year. Misfit Wrestling. People need to stop with the conspiracy theories about AJ Styles and let go of this idea that he's going to wrestle anywhere else when he's done with WWE. He's not going to AEW. He's not going back to Japan. Get over it. Well, that's a pretty stupid statement to make considering the language he used in his promo tonight. So, I think you're wrong. Retro KOH, if Santina got into the Women's Rumble, then Demon Futa Balor. Demon Futa Balor? Mr. Murph. Thank you for the 5. Thank you, Mr. Murph. Moore says, All Out with 12,000 was far louder than Raw with 17,000. Really was. And All Out was in Toronto, I believe, right? C says, were the reactions louder for EO's match or Punk's? EO. EO and Rhea. Base Beer says, whatever happened with the lady that Austin hit with the ATV? He didn't hit the lady with the ATV. He hit the barricade. The lady just gently fell back in her seat and she pitched a fit and she's fine. They immediately came over to her. I'm sure they gave her some free shit. They cut that off before it could turn into anything. So the lady is fine. Jeremy Rose. Thank you, Jeremy. Says, you think AJ tells WWE his plans to wrestle everywhere, including AEW, when they don't break out the Brinks truck and tell him he can have any TNA WWE ops he wants? They are too petty to allow All In against Omega. I don't think he clued them in about all of his plans. I mean, he may well have told them he wants to wrestle outside the company, and maybe he mentioned TNA and stuff. It doesn't mean he specifically said, I am going to go to AEW. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It's up to him. Honestly, I mean, it's really up to him. If he really wants to work with other people who don't work for WWE, then this is what he's going to do. I don't think he's hurting for money. You know, maybe they offered him more money and he said, I'm not interested. I don't know. The Mount Vernon kid says, AJ did say he would love to coach the next generation, and I could see him do that and be phenomenal at it. Yeah, I could too. Phil says, hi Solo, did it seem like the crowd was kind of quiet for the CM Punk entrance? Dude, they were quiet for that whole fucking match. Including the entrances. They got the first ever CM Punk AJ Styles match in WWE. And, I mean, they just were treating it like any other match. I don't get it. I really don't get it. OMG, it's Winky. How do you like this idea for the Royal Rumble? The Vision dominates for a while, throwing everyone out until Obafemi shows up and wrecks house. Could set up a program at Mania with Bron or Logan. I don't want to see Obafemi working with Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I would rather see him in there with someone who's a little more physically intimidating. Bron Breakker. I don't think that's a match they want to do because those are two guys they want to protect, but I'm just using him as an example. I don't think Logan is... I just don't think Logan's going to be the right opponent for him at WrestleMania. Chris says, fellow He-Man lover here wants to correct. He-Man was influenced by the aesthetics of Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian and, of course, Flash Gordon and John Carter. Not the action figures, brother. all of the merch and all of that stuff that they were trying to make money off of was very much influenced by Star Wars. It may have been, I mean, again, the character and the stories and whatnot, you're right, but in terms of all the shit they sold and everything, believe me, there was a lot of influence from the success of Star Wars that played into that. Bobby Means, best Royal Rumble of all time. Are you new here? 1992. Phil says, hi Solo, just wanted to say I'm thinking about buying a Honda Civic. It's not a bad choice. I've thought about that myself. I almost bought a Honda Civic hatchback a few years ago. And now I kind of wish I did, because now I really don't even want to look at the prices of cars. I'm just going to stick with what I have. I'm going to stick with my 18-year-old car for a little while longer. As long as it still runs. I just put new tires on it. It is pretty crazy though, you know, 18-year-old car with only 72,000 miles on it. I take good care of it. The Mount Vernon kid says, what was dinner, Solo? Hulkling 93 and I had chicken sweet potato casserole with a praline topping. Chicken and shrimp. And rice. Phil says, hi Solo. I'm snowed in. This is my first time in a while watching Raw from start to finish since I don't have to sleep early, but this show felt like a snoozer. Would you agree? Yes, it did. It was mostly a snooze fest. It really was. I was excited. It was all about the main event. It was setting up the main event in the opening segment. The women's tag match was fun. But the rest of the show just kind of dragged. It was largely a snooze fest. I was waiting for that main event. We got that main event. I was like, all right, here we go. This is what this whole show is all about. And then it was just very... you know how I felt? I felt like I did coming out of the AJ Nakamura match from WrestleMania 34. That's kind of how I felt. Aaron says, how do you see the drama with the Judgment Day women playing out? Who turns on who? And with your Money in the Bank prediction, how would you factor that in? I don't know how I would factor it in. I just think Roxanne's my pick. I think Raquel comes out of it as a babyface. When she, whatever drama, I think she comes out of it as a babyface. And probably will end up as World Heavyweight Champion at some point this year. But I like the idea somebody floated before them. Maybe the WrestleMania match isn't Stephanie and Liv. It could be Stephanie, Liv, and Raquel. I think that could work. You could factor in the Judgment Day drama into that. Deathside says, Austin Theory looks like a smaller Gene Snitsky. That's not a good thing. That's not really going to enhance his career. Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I feel bad for the women, or the woman, who gets the Iron Woman spot in those bodysuits. Yeah, I just hope that they can differentiate them enough, since they all have to be covered from head to toe, that they could at least change the outfits up in such a way where they don't all look the same in there. Nick Grasso says, any chance they do the Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels angle from 95 with Raquel winning the women's world title and Liv winning either the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but I think they're going to want somebody a little bit bigger on one side, whether it's Stephanie, whether it's Rhea, and then either Raquel or Liv on the other side. I don't think Raquel against Liv is their idea of a WrestleMania match. I don't. The Mount Vernon Kid, what's one of your favorite Macho Man promos? One of mine is his promo after Jake slapped Elizabeth at Tuesday in Texas. Yeah, I mean, that's if that's not number one, that's definitely up there. I mean, there's a lot of promos he did that I like the funny ones he would do with Mean Gene, like Probably the one with the coffee cups. He just kept coming up with these little coffee creamer cups, putting it on his head and stuff. He was crazy like that. Eminem says 2 times 1 be the booker, double be the booker. Oh my goodness, I just noticed. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. We just racked up 2 rounds of be the booker. Man, you guys have brought the heat. You guys have brought the heat tonight. 564 likes too. Alfonso says, I'm guessing the Triple H era doesn't like surprises. First they spoil Roman and now Oba. We know they're in it, but still, let there be mystery. Well, they haven't announced Jericho. Doesn't mean there's not going to be surprises there. There's going to be surprises. They haven't announced Brock. Even though I think he's visible on the billboard outside the stadium, which kind of gives it away. Deathside says, I'm picking Jacob to win by throwing out Roman. I would love that. I'm picking Roman to win because I think he's going to win, but I would love to see Jacob fought to toss Roman's ass out of that ring. Moore says, All Out and Raw were at the same arena. And Kung Fu Joseph, who's a wrestler that you wanted to win the world title when you were a kid, that now that you are an adult, you know there's no way they would have won. That I wanted to see win a world title as a kid? I mean, I think they all won world titles. You know, Macho Man, I wanted Hulk Hogan to get the belt back, right? When I was a little naive kid. Who did I want to get the world title? I don't know. I don't think there was anybody else that I could think of that I was such a big fan of. I wanted them to win the world title and they didn't. I don't think anybody would qualify that I could think of. Yeah, I could look back on it now and say, oh man, you know, Mr. Perfect, he would have made a great world champion for a period of time, or Rick Rude. But like as a kid, I wasn't thinking that. So I don't know. Marshall says, one of my biggest regrets in life is not buying a Nami One Piece PSA 10 card a year ago for $1,000. Not that card. Oh, now that card is worth $5,000. What's a Nami One Piece PSA 10? What is that? I don't even know what that is. But I know I wouldn't be spending $1,000 on it. Says, I think you forgot to answer my Royal Rumble super chat. Did I? I don't think so. Let's see here. Let's scroll down and see. Let's see. Here we go. With the Royal Rumble being this weekend, this reminds me, I'm so glad I went to my one and only Rumble in 2023 before the ticket prices were this expensive. Yeah, I went to the one in 2024 in Tampa, and actually I enjoyed that one. And I feel like it was right after that ticket prices really started to explode. I feel like we got in right on the cusp. And then things just kind of went boom. And now you look at these prices for some of these big shows, and it's just insane. Alexander, thoughts on Bob Backlund's 94 heel turn? I thought it was great. The actual turn, I thought was fantastic. I thought the match that he had with Brett that night that he turned was fantastic. That was the best match I've ever seen them have. Their match at Survivor Series was not as good. Their match at WrestleMania 11 was fucking garbage. It's the worst Bret Hart match I've ever seen. But the match on Superstars in July of 94, when Bret beat him, and then Backlund turned after the match and became Crazy Bob, It's a great angle. It's a great match and a great angle. And the Mount Vernon Kid, I feel LA Knight will eliminate most of the Vision. Not saying he'll win, but get those guys back for pay. I feel like he'll eliminate one or two maybe, but I don't think he's going to eliminate most of them. Let's just wait and see and make sure he's actually in there first. I think that's the key. All right, so you guys have 2 rounds of Be the Booker. That's how I like to start the week. That's a great way to start the week. And hopefully we're going to end the week that way too with the Rumble review. I'm expecting big things for the Rumble review on Saturdays, so you better bring the heat then too. But let's go ahead and kick things off here with our first of 2 rounds of Be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
Does Evil debut in the Rumble? Oh, God. I hope not. Can you imagine if Finn Balor couldn't get into the Royal Rumble because Evil had a spot in the Rumble? And he can't be evil, by the way. He's got to be something new. So maybe Nasty. We'll call him Nasty. What's Nasty doing here? Or do they go the complete opposite? Maybe now he'll be good. Making his debut soon. Good. Good is here. I like that, actually. Change the whole gimmick. He's just always happy. Pulling out chairs for people. Holding doors open for people. We begin with Too Cool. Brian Christopher, we got Grandmaster Sexay. And Scotty Too Hottie. Doing some tag team Be the Booker here. Too Cool against the British Bulldogs. The Golden Era meets the Attitude Era. Live instead of evil, so just evil spelled backwards. Now, I like my idea of good. It goes from evil to good. I want to see WWE attempt to trademark the name Good. We have Jazz. Former women's champion, Jazz, is going to be taking on Sasha Banks. At Mercedes and Jazz. That'd be a good one. And we have Hangman Adam Page. Why does he look like he has a gunshot in the side of his head? It's a pretty bad wound. A bloody cowboy here. A bloody Hangman Adam Page is in the main event, and he is injured. He is wounded. This is good news for his opponent. This means his opponent is going to win. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, has appeared for the 2nd time here in Be the Booker. The Bulldog and the Hangman. Got ourselves a clean sweep. No, wait a minute. Is that 4 straight rounds now of sweeps? Aren't we coming off 3? I think this was 4 straight rounds where we've had clean sweeps. Going back to last week. Wow. We are on quite the roll here. We really are. I don't think we've ever been on a roll like this before. All right, we got to keep it going now, because now we get to pick stipulations here. That's right, we are 4 for 4. The last 4 rounds we've done. And we're going to have eye for an eye. Someone is losing an eye. Yes, this is a record. Now, an eye for an eye tag match, that's tough. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we're going to go with the women. One of these women will unfortunately be losing an eye here in this match. Timeless Toni Storm. She may be losing an eye here. That's terrible. Timeless Toni. Against Sol Ruka. Man. One of them's going to have to wear an eye patch. I feel like Toni Storm, that's going to be like a great new gimmick for her. She'll have to wear an eye patch for the rest of her career. Eyeless Toni Storm. She'll still have one eye. It's not like she's going to be completely blind. Eyeless. She goes from timeless to eyeless. And now we're going to... Now we go from eye for an eye. Someone's losing an eye. We're going to a blindfold match. What is going on here? So now we have a blindfold match. This is terrible. Again, how am I supposed to do a tag team blindfold match? This is fucking horrendous. I'll tell you what. We're not doing a tag match. We're going to do 2 men's singles matches. Enough of this. I can't believe we go from eye for an eye to a blindfold match. Oh, we have Al Bundy. Yes. Al, 4 touchdowns in 1 game, Bundy. In a blindfold match. Against Nigel McGuinness? Yeah, but Al Bundy is in there. So, I mean, how do I not? You know how entertaining an Al Bundy blindfold match would be? That's right. Instant bell. All right, so what are we potentially headed towards our 5th straight clean sweep? Are we going to add to the record? Uh-oh. A Molotov cocktail match. At least we got away from the eye stipulations. Although if he throws the Molotov cocktail in someone's face, it'll probably blind them. All right, we have a Molotov cocktail match. That is a real match, by the way, as you saw there from the well-reviewed AEW Fight Forever video game. Got so many glowing positive reviews. Yeah, that sounds about right. Darby Allin will be in a Molotov cocktail match. That's actually bang on right there. Oh, Darby Allin. Oh, we were so close. Oh, no. We almost did it. We were so close. And The Miz ruined it. Well, it was a good run. That was a hell of a run, actually. But the record is over. 5 for 5. So close. So close to 6. We sacrificing The Miz. It was a great run. I have no regrets. And Marshall says WWE will try to trademark the word good. They'll just add an H to good, but the H is silent. GHOOD. I put nothing past them. Man, you guys are hardcore in the chat. Set the Miz on fire? That's a little extreme. The only streak that mattered ended tonight. I know. It's terrible. Take the Miz out of the... Now, you can't do that. You can't just take out people you don't like. It's not how it works. Somebody... See, when you spell it out in the chat like that, I could totally see them doing that. G-H-O-O-D with a silent H. Good. I love the idea of calling of Evil just getting a complete gimmick overhaul and going by good. You know, Evil has been a part of the House of Torture now for a number of years. So I kind of feel like if Evil's going to come in, if he by chance ends up on the main roster, he probably would end up he probably would be better off ending up in a faction. So the question is, like, what faction does he join? He's not going to join the Vision. Is there a group that Evil could join that would make sense? Shout out to Maze, channel member for 54 months. With how long you've been a fan, I was surprised when you said WrestleMania 28 was your first one live. 10 and 20 were in the Garden. Well, I went to the Fan Fest at the Garden the weekend of WrestleMania 10, but we did not go to WrestleMania itself because we was Poe. And I did not have a chance to go. Couldn't afford tickets. But 20, I don't know why I didn't go to 20. I don't know. But yeah, WrestleMania 28 was in Miami. And that was my first in-person WrestleMania. And then I went straight for like whatever it was, 7 years. I went all the way to 35 and that was enough for me. No more WrestleMania. Steve says, ironically, if the Vision was in a blindfold match, they would have no vision. That's true. The Judgment Day, sadly. Only faction close to the House of Torture. Evil in the Judgment Day. Chase U with Evil. He's going to become a student in Chase U. Yep. Then COVID hit. And then we had WrestleMania in an empty warehouse. And that was the end of my WrestleMania streak. Honestly, though, that was going to be the end anyway. It was going to make the Jericho cruise probably our new annual vacation. Me and my friends. I actually enjoyed that one I went on. It wasn't the first one they ever did. But the one they did in 2020, I went on that one. And I enjoyed it. I'd never been on a cruise before that. So I enjoyed it. And I was like, hey, I think this could be our new annual vacation. And then, yeah, COVID went and fucked that all up. So, cool. Power Spying Games. Buy, rent, sell on ECW themes. Thunderkiss 65 by White Zombie. This is Extreme, which is the main ECW theme. And Bodies by Drowning Pool. Man, those were all great songs. I like the ECW theme. This is Extreme. I might have to buy. I think I'm going to buy on that one. And then I'll rent on Bodies and I'll sell on Thunderkiss. Marshall says, I swear I have more fun on this stream than watching Raw sometimes. That's the goal. If I can entertain you more than Raw. And are you a fan of the John Wick movies? I have them on a list of things that I am supposed to watch. The Matrix is on there too, by the way. I've never seen The Matrix. I don't know what's wrong with me. but I have it on my list of things to watch. You know what I did watch the other day? It's a movie I guarantee you've never even heard of. I didn't hear of it either until the other day, so I watched it. It's a movie called Unhinged from 2020. Funny enough, I don't know if it was filmed during the pandemic or just before the pandemic, but it has Russell Crowe, and it's about a man who gets cut off on the road by another driver. It's basically a movie about this guy who just goes around killing people in just like a fit of road rage. It's called Unhinged. So I watched that, but I have to watch the John Wick movies. Wick is like the AEW of movie. What does that mean? Is that a compliment? Yeah, I don't know how The Matrix eluded me. I feel like it's the kind of movie I would enjoy too. It's probably like right in my wheelhouse. So basically, it's a movie about people who drive in Virginia and DC, or New York, or California, or anywhere else where there are cars, because there are too many cars on the road. The roads haven't changed, that there's more cars on them now. We're about to have an intervention. You're going to sit me down in a chair and tape my eyelids open and make me watch The Matrix? Still haven't watched The Batman yet. I see. Blood. Okay, so is it a bloody movie? Is John Wick a very bloody movie? Is that the AEW joke? How about Lord of the Rings? I fell asleep during the first one. Never went back to watch the other two. Alexander says, sounds like your typical BMW driver. Well, I mean, the way the movie starts, it actually starts with him sitting in his car outside of a house. You presume it's his house. And clearly there's something wrong with him. He's popping pills and shit. And, I mean, I'm not giving too much away here, but, you know, he takes a hammer, he goes into the house, and he kills, I guess it's maybe his ex-wife or her partner or whatever, and then sets the house on fire and burns it down. That's how the movie starts. So the guy had some issues here. It's not just that he got cut off. It's that he got cut off, you know, that very next day when they were searching for the person who did this. He's out and about driving. He gets cut off. It was just the wrong time to cut this man off. And then he chases this woman and her kids for the rest of the movie. It's called Unhinged. Look, it's one of these movies where like these characters will make decisions that just make you want to bang your head against the wall. Like there's no way that people can be this stupid. So it's not like a great movie, but I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I was surprised to see Russell Crowe with like this giant beer belly though. It's definitely not the Russell Crowe from Gladiator. He's let himself go. Yes, I've seen Forrest Gump. I saw Forrest Gump and Shawshank Redemption. They both came out the same year. Yeah, I saw the trailer the other day for the Masters of the Universe movie. I will be seeing that. I will be seeing the Street Fighter movie. I'll be seeing the Mortal Kombat movie. They all come out this year. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, people on the road, man, you never know. You roll your window down, you mouth off to the wrong person, and you never know. People are nuts. Austin says he won't be able to watch the Royal Rumble, but he will be here for the reviews. Yeah, I like to hear that. Yeah, again, I have someplace to be in the morning. I have a funeral. So I am hoping I am back here before the Rumble starts. I may I may be back here a little after 2 o'clock, but as soon as I come home, I'll pick up with the Rumble. And that's at 2 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, probably about 9 o'clock Eastern is when I'll go live with the review. I'm not going to watch the Rumble and just go right into it. I mean, I got to eat. That's just crazy. So Saturday night, carve out a couple of hours and we'll hang out. We'll talk about the Royal Rumble. And then you'll have a new podcast the next day. That'll be episode 949. Marshall's Mount Vernon Kid, Unhinged is underrated film. You'll love it. I watched it. What are you talking about? I just told you about it. Navy said, add Rick Martel and rename them the Visionaries. There is a live stream, by the way. Probably they're going to have it all week. But it just started this morning on the WWE Vault channel. If you want to check it out when you're done here. It's just a compilation of various Royal Rumble matches. So that's pretty cool. I usually put it on at night, like when I'm falling asleep, when they have these like live streams that they do, like these watch parties. So I was checking out some of it earlier, and they had, it went from like the Rumble in 2002, and then it went into the Rumble match from 1989. And so Axe comes out of Demolition to start the Rumble, and then Howard Finkel's like, let's find out who drew number 2 at random. And then when you hear Demolition's music hit for a second time, like that moment, it's like, wow. And then out comes Smash, and they start beating the crap out of each other. I love it. One of the great Rumble moments. Marshall says, are you a fan of the Roseanne sitcom? Yeah, the original, yeah. Yeah, it was a good show. I didn't really watch it as a kid. My parents did, but I got more of an appreciation for it when I got older. It's a good show. Leopoldo, you said it, not me. I'm going to blame you for that. All right. So anyway, this has been fun. Thank you guys for all the likes and all the super chats. We got 2 Be the Booker rounds, which is awesome. We're going to shoot for it on Wednesday. Wednesday tends to be a slower night with Be the Booker, so I'm going to really need you guys to come through on that one. That'll be the Dynamite post show. Tomorrow night we have Tuesday Night Titans with myself and JD. Friday, again, it looks like I will be able to watch SmackDown a lot earlier because on Netflix, internationally, it looks like it's airing live at 12 o'clock my time. So if I can watch the show early, I may go live right after. So I don't know if some of you may be at work, some of you may be doing other stuff, but you might get some early mid-afternoon Solomonster on Friday. Talking SmackDown. Not that I expect anything significant to happen on SmackDown. It's the day before the Rumble, but I know they're having a Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn face-off. Maybe we'll get another open challenge with Carmelo Hayes. That's usually the highlight of the show. And then Saturday is the Rumble. Be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great Tuesday. And I will see you back here for more Sound Off live on YouTube very soon. And I leave you with this announcement that I opened the stream with for those of you who missed the big news that broke earlier this evening about next month's House of Glory show. What will be our first New York show of the year. We're going to be in Los Angeles later this week on Friday. I will not be, but HOG will be. But we're going to come back to New York City in a big way on February 20th. So get your tickets now before they're all gone. And I'll see you back here on Wednesday. Until then, take care, guys.